to Ephemera. I am fantasy author Kate Heartfield.
And I am muted. And I am Jennifer Albert, and we hope you are enjoying our theme music, courtesy of Alex White. Welcome to anyone joining us for the first time, and welcome back to those who have visited our virtual home before. To those of you who are new, Ephemera is an award-nominated reading series chaired by Katie and myself.
Pre-COVID, we held events in the Glad Day bookshop, and while we await our triumphant return, we take solace in this community of diverse SFF.
We would like to first begin by acknowledging that the land on which KT and I live and work is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. This land is covered under Treaty 13 and is a part of the Dish with One Spoon. This month we celebrate Ephemera's one-year anniversary. Any celebration of a reading series like Ephemera is a celebration of community. The support we've received, the support we've been able to provide to others. At Ephemera, we strive to bring people together across genres, forms, nations, cultures, orientations, and abilities. But in too many places in Canada, Indigenous people continue to be othered, to be seen as outside of the community. Even in this time of hardship and struggle, a Slave Lake counselor, you may have heard, made disparaging comments on neighboring Indigenous communities' use of homelessness services. Indigenous communities are disproportionately affected by poverty and homelessness due to colonization, historical trauma, systemic justice, and the exploitation of their lands and resources. And as such, disparaging sentiments are a true injustice. At Ephemera, we've been fortunate enough to receive community support from all of you through grants, promotion, attendance, donations, and as such, it's our duty to support other communities in need. This is something we try to do whenever we can. You may know that it's our one-year anniversary. Our birthday present to ourselves this year was a donation to the Aboriginal Coalition to End Homelessness, which is an Indigenous-led organization out of Vancouver Island that aims to end homelessness within the Indigenous population there. You can find them at acehsociety.com. I'll post that in the channel. If you'd like to give an Ephemera a birthday present this year, please do donate as well, or look for an Indigenous-led organization that you believe in and find out how you can help.
And a reminder to everyone that our code of conduct is posted online. If this is your first event, please check it out on Twitter or on Facebook. And if you're so inclined, you can still feed Fred, the physically distanced donation dragon. You can find the link to our Ko-fi at the top of our channel, up near the banner. There's a small icon up there. Or you can check out the Twitter or Facebook page for tonight's event. You can also just visit ko-fi.com/ephemera reading series. Now, it is a very special night for Ephemera.
Yes, I've been so excited. Okay, everyone, we'd like to say
it's our birthday, and as you've already mentioned, Ephemera turns 1 year old today.
Actually, it turned 1 year old a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, to be exact. Remember, we started on November 5th, but we changed it to the third Wednesday of the month instead of the first.
Yeah, and we're not giving the third Wednesday back. It belongs to us now. But we can still celebrate today, right?
Absolutely. We can celebrate with our first reader.
That's great. Over to you.
Reader is Kate Heartfield. Kate Heartfield writes science fiction and fantasy, including the Aurora-winning novel Armed in Her Fashion, and the Nebula shortlisted novella Alice Payne Arrives, along with dozens of stories. She is the author of The Road to Canterbury and The Magician's Workshop, both of which were shortlisted for the Nebula in game writing. Her next novel is The Embroidered Book, a historical fantasy coming in 2022. A former journalist, Kate lives in Ottawa, Canada. Kate?
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to Ephemera. This is a real honor, and I had hoped to be there in person, but maybe one day, and this is almost as good, especially for the first birthday. Community is something that means a lot to me and has really sustained me this year. So I put a lot of thought into what I was going to read tonight. And Jen and Katie can attest to my emails. Should I read this? Should I read that? What should I read? And I finally landed on my story, Chameleon, which was published in Daily Science Fiction last year. And it's a very short story about a couple of aspects of community that I think are important to me, which are finding your people and feeling like you're seen for who you are. So that's what this story is about, Chameleon. I'm glad you can't see me, I lie to the girl in the window seat with the rainbow hair. It's okay, I'm not much to look at. I'm not beautiful like you. She's my age, but I'm not made of rainbows and a propaganda t-shirt. At the moment, I'm a girl made of a rough polyblend weave in brown and blue, with a drop of baby puke, a splash of Diet Coke, and a lot of sweat. My arms are indistinguishable from the molded beige plastic of the arms of the chair. But as far as bus rides go, this one isn't too bad because no one is sitting on me. Sure, the rainbow-haired girl threw her backpack on me, but it's a small, light backpack with Johnny Appleseed sticking out of it, and I don't mind riding with it on my lap. I'll keep it safe for you, I say, knowing she can't hear me. The bus wheezes to a stop, and a man in a trucker cap gets on. There are 2 empty seats, and there's me, and I look like an empty seat. Please, no, I say, though he can't hear. Please, keep walking. He pauses right next to me, so close I have to squish to avoid his jeans. Sorry, lost my spot here. For a moment, I think he senses me. Sometimes I wonder about men with that look in their eyes, whether they sit on me on purpose. They seem to enjoy it. I prepare to shut my mind down, to wait it out. But the girl doesn't move her backpack. Her head is half shaved, up to just above her ear, and its growing in goes on top. I wonder what it would feel like against my fingers, a shaved head like that. Move your bag, the man says. She turns to him, pops pink gum between pink lips. Nope. She makes that nope last 100 years. He stares at her for 100 more, and I'm thinking how my luck is the worst. But then he just rolls his eyes and steps down the aisle, muttering, damn millennials. My mother is a millennial, the rainbow-haired girl says, super loud. She grins, and once he's sitting somewhere else, she picks up her backpack and puts it on her own lap. There, she says. There aren't any more stops until we get to Toronto, so you should be safe now. I blink hard, forgetting to avoid doing that because the movement weirds people out. In kindergarten, back when I didn't realize I was starting to blend into the world, I gave a boy nightmares by handing him a pair of scissors. Are you talking to me? Sure, she says with a smile. You can hear me? You can see me? She sighs. My ex-girlfriend was a chameleon some of the time. She used to fade into the background when we were around other people. Now that I know the signs, I can't unsee them, I guess. Sometimes I've noticed other people who are like me, but we never talk to each other, acknowledge each other. I've never heard us called chameleons before. My mom just called me freak or sneak back when I could turn it on and off, when I could choose to be seen when I wanted to. Wow, I say, and then blush, which is bad because it looks like a shadow where no shadow should be, but I can't help it. So I guess you heard everything I said before. Yep, she says, and this yep lasts so long it sends shivers all over my body. She's smiling at me. Thanks, I'm Hannah. Julia, I say. It's been a long time since I've said my own name. Are you going to Toronto? For starters, yeah. I need somewhere to hide from my life for a while and think about stuff, somewhere where nobody knows me. Blending in is my specialty, I say. That and pancakes. I'm so happy that I made her smile, even though she seems to smile a lot, so it's not that hard. But this one is my smile. I made it. I think it's rad that you can change into anything, Julia. If I were you, I'd go into art museums all the time and just become the art, you know? Like Van Gogh. I really like Van Gogh. I nod, but I've never been to an art gallery. I used to go to the mall. and stand next to a fake waterfall. It had these lights that would change the water into different colors, like your hair. She tucks a strand of blue behind her ear. It's pierced 3 times, but one of the holes is empty. Can I try something? She asks. And my body knows what it is before my brain will believe it's true. I nod, and she holds her right hand out, palm up. I slowly put my left hand over hers and watch it take on every shade of her skin. Our arms slide together, and then I'm wearing a little of her t-shirt. There's a stray sunset-colored hair on my shoulder. And then, for the first time in years, a little of myself sneaks in, a moving shadow on both of our arms, like a ripple in ice cream. She gives my hand a squeeze before we let go. That is super cool, she says. A couple of hours to Toronto, and I am in no hurry. Thank you very much. That was Chameleon, published in Daily Science Fiction.
Thank you so much, Kate. I love your turns of phrase. It's just the kind of writing that makes me really happy and really jealous at the same time. Thank you for that. It was awesome.
Thanks so much. It has been quite an eventful year for Ephemera reading series. And we wanted to know, audience, and many of you have been here before, we've seen you all. What were some of your favorite memories, either here or in person if you attended our in-person events? Please feel free to share in chat the memories that you have of Ephemera series. We've also gathered a few from Twitter. Susan Palumbo says, I liked the Choose Your Own Adventure that ended in the haunted house. Also, there was a duo, a daughter who sang. They were awesome.
Yes, our friends Errol and Zoe Elamir, they are awesome. We also have a comment in from Maroki saying, your collection dragon. And I'm so glad that you enjoy Fred Maroki. He certainly misses you all. If I could just share one of my own, honestly, our February event holds a really special place in my heart. So that was our event with Courtney Fernandez, Tanya Liebert, and Lex Beckett. Because I think by February, we mostly kind of figured out how the event works. So it was a nice rhythm. And little did we know, that was actually my last in-person event. Because I was away in March. I was in the States. It was a very different time. So yeah, in hindsight, that February in-person event is very precious.
Well, we'll be in person again one day.
Yeah, we will. That's the thing, like we've made this into a new normal and we'll make a new normal again. And I'm sure in person, we will be lucky enough to welcome our next performer as well. I'm very pleased to introduce Kari Maaren. Kari Maaren is a writer, cartoonist, musician, and academic whose first novel, the YA fantasy Weave a Circle Round, was published by Tor Books in 2017. It tied for the 2018 Copper Cylinder Award, YA category, was a finalist for the Andre Norton Award for Young Adult Science Fiction and Fantasy, and was shortlisted for the Sunburst Award, YA category. Kari has a completed webcomic, West of Bathurst, and an active one, the Aurora-winning It Never Rains, and she has produced 2 independent albums, Beowulf Pulled My Arm Off, and Everybody Hates Elves. She lives, it's a true fact, she lives in Toronto with too many musical instruments and an astounding number of books. Welcome, Kari, I'm so glad to have you here tonight.
Yay, thank you, Katie. And everyone, I'm tired, can you tell? So yeah, hello everybody. And when I saw that the theme today was community, I have a lot of songs that could relate to this theme, but I can only choose 2. And I could have chosen some of the more cynical ones that are mean, but I decided not to do that because it seemed inappropriate. It's a birthday celebration. Also, I think that this year we've had to reevaluate what we think about community and what it means, just because of the whole COVID thing and the way that communities have turned into something else, something in which everyone is alone and still together at the same time. If I can be an academic for a moment, we have had to retreat into our imagined communities instead of living in our physical communities. And so in some ways, both of these songs are about that. They are 2 of my more positive songs, and they are about kind of being alone, but still being part of a group. This first one is, I usually introduce it by saying that it's about everybody who's here, even though there's no one here but me in this room. But you know what I mean. Cause I have an idea for a story set on Venus where the characters are gases, but I trip on my Superman pajamas and tumble down the stairs, landing on the mattress I've left there in case that happens. Eat my breakfast sitting backwards in my chair, since that aids my digestion like my socks, as my socks are really purple and my mom says I have to put on pants, but I don't want to put on pants. So I tell her that in binary I'm not so sure she heard. Oh well, it's great to be a nerd. Go on the computer to talk to my friends, but they don't know Esperanto, so that kills the conversation, and I just can't muster up the courage to contact someone new. Luckily, there is a lot of math to do on Twitter. Tell my sister that she's eldritch and she tries to complain to our parents, but they don't know that word, so they ignore her, and I'm going to invent a new grape drink, cause I'm craving a new grape drink. I think I'll make a good attempt to turn into a bird. Oh, what fun. It's great to be a nerd. And I know that you say I am weird anyway. In my mind, you're an alien that looks like a small gray gnat. And I'm sure you believe I'm no more than you perceive, but I live in a box. It's the box holding Schrodinger's cat, which isn't a real cat, though it also is a real cat. Do experiments on Legos for a while composing a sonata for the panpipes and accordion that draws on ideas medieval monks have never written down, which I know because I am a little psychic. Write a recipe for traveling in time, then begin an adventure 5 minutes in the past in central London, and I think I am going to save the world, but I don't want to save the world. Sometimes I like to misinterpret everything I've heard. Join in, it's great to be a nerd. And I know I'm not cool and you think I'm a tool, but I've just been to Narnia and try proving that's not true. And perhaps I'm alone, but then I may be a clone sent to kill both your parents in the past, so there's never a you. Never a real you, though there'll also be a real you. Go to bed and have another idea, though it isn't very good cause it involves a raw tomato, and I'm really allergic to tomatoes, plus they are all undead. A little round red seed producing zombies fall asleep while counting backwards in my head in base 6, since base 6 is kind of mean and it's colored deep magenta, and I guess it is time to sing good night, though I can't really sing good night. I realize everything I say is borderline absurd. So what? It's great to be a nerd. 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 45. It's great to be a nerd. 44, 43, 42, 41, 40, 35, 34. It's great to be a nerd. All right. So that's my first weird little song. And for my second song, I am going to sing one that's actually a little less silly than some of my songs. I will have to change my capo, make sure that's correct. This is, as far as where community is concerned, this is very much a song about being alone, but it's a song about being alone with something else that is important to you. It is a song about reading, but is it a song? It's a song about reading from the perspective of the book. Hey you, that's right, you are on your own. Big world, cruel world, you like to be alone. You need something bigger than the sky, but you don't know what it is. don't know why. Come on, come near, I am here for you. You're not sure what I'm for, but I know what to do. I hope you're ready to come and take a look. I'm waiting for you to open up my book. Come with me up above. We shall save the world with love, or with swords or shoes or wishing rings or battles on the sea. Come with me down below. We have many miles to go. You don't know what you don't know. Come with me. We'll go somewhere long ago and far away, and you'll hate it and you'll want to stay. Here you are in an adventure that could kill, and you know you won't be safe, and you know you will. Come with me up above. We shall save the world with love, or with swords or shoes or wishing rings or battles on the sea. Come with me down below. We have many miles to go. You don't know what you don't know. Come with me. Travel the forest, carry the one ring. You are the chosen one, you are the true king. He just betrayed you, make an alliance. Now you have tamed a dragon with science. Ride the winged horses, hope that you stay on. Find something precious in that broken crayon. Discover the planet, conquer it fully. Use your magic to pummel the bully. Run from the danger, see yourself beaten. Stand up again to make sure you're not eaten. Carry the one ring, do it in stages. Take a deep breath as you're turning the pages. You will find out I have a lot to grant. You can trust me, and you really can't. You want comfort as you cuddle in your bed. I can't quite give you that, but take this axe instead. Big world, cruel world, obscured and rearranged. When you emerge, you'll be just a little changed. You're uncertain what will happen then, but you can always come back and do it all again. Come with me up above. We shall save the world with love, or with swords or shoes or wishing rings or battles on the sea. Come with me down below. We have many miles to go. You don't know what you don't know. Come with me. Come with me up above. We shall save the world with love, or with swords or shoes or wishing rings or battles on the sea. Come with me down below. We have many miles to go. You don't know what you don't know. Come with me. You don't know what you don't know. what you don't know. Come with me.
And thank you, Kari.
You're welcome.
Wish you guys could have seen our backstage here. It was full of dancing and then a lot of emotion in the second song. It's really heartfelt. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kari, for performing for us again. Just thinking back to last year as well, Kari performed for us not quite a year ago, and our first event was a year ago now, and it was quite a doozy for me. I was so nervous. We both were so nervous. Arrived early. The poor staff at Glad Day had to deal with me like fiddling around before our first event, but it was so great. We had Madeline Ashby, Kelly Robson, Ratty Marotra, and a saucy drag performance by Titus Androgynous and Henry VIII. And also cauliflower bites, which we were very proud of. And our first theme that long ago, that year ago, was beginnings. And we really began something then. Hey, did we mention our theme tonight?
No, we did not. Luckily, our guests have done it for us several times. So our theme, if you haven't picked up on it yet, is community, because that is what we're all about here at Ephemera.
So what are our 2021 themes going to be?
That is a very good question. I think we should ask the audience. As usual, we're going to run a poll on Twitter, and you are more than welcome to vote in the chat. If you're going to Twitter, just look for @Ephemera Series. Which themes would you like to see in our second year?
Joy, healing, persistence.
Humor, friendship, home. So again, you can vote on Twitter. Again, just give me a sec to actually put the polls up, or you can just go forth in the chat. If you have other ideas, please put them down. We'd love to hear them.
And now for our next reader. Vivian Li is a writer and musician who loves to learn and explore new disciplines in her free time. She has been published in this magazine, Mad Scientist Journal, and elsewhere. She currently edits for Augur, a fantastic magazine, and can be reached at ELIKTHERAIN on Twitter. Also, tomorrow is her birthday, so everybody please wish her well. See her laughing here. Vivian?
Thank you, Jen and Katie, for having me here. I'm really enjoying hearing everyone's creative works, and I really love the songs. We were all dancing in the background. I was definitely a big fan, so thank you, Kari, for that. And so today I was thinking of, when I thought of the theme of community, I was thinking of different kinds of community, and I'm going to be reading a poem and a flash fiction piece, which might be expanded to a short story. And so the first poem is called Noon, and I was thinking about like groups of friends and family in that poem. So hope you enjoy. Noon. On her skin, the red bruise of mango erupted. One slender dot after the other, a calligraphy set writing a dawn of rainbows. How her grandmother murmured, "Is this your name or someone else's?" Moon soft like macaroons, she shuffled through her papers, slow ink smoothing through each soft verb, gazing at her grandmother's hazy brows and wizened face. How many moons before it was all over? She could not imagine. Her sword sunk beneath her knees, and her grandmother knelt behind her. A warmth sparkled on her wrist. Rain tinkled through her open window. You will not forget me? Center stage. Witness a monkey king juggling bananas, a monk on a horse with meat sweet and fresh for cannibals. I ask her, why is the stage not starting? She dips her fingers into the ink, swirls an infinite loop. The face of my grandfather, a red soldier uniform buried 5 feet underground. Touching her fingers briefly on her lips, she tastes acid curling down her esophagus. Do not. Her room flutters with the light steps of a former friend, yellow shoji cracking, a thoughtful pause before settling down. Hello. I smooth water over paper, pour tea in a bowl, my grandmother's voice whispering from my throat. I dry my hands in warm towels. You've come too late. Papers rustle. Beauty on the Moon sings for freedom, my friend's butterfly clip hovering in the air. Do not forget me. I will. Do not think I will always rest here. Do not. I paint my hands blue, she is not blue, slightly purple like ivy morning glories. Meniscusing my wrists, a lapping handcuff connects me to her moon, her round pastries, her empty birdhouses. I glance up, blue ink dissolving on my face, a smile withering onto white lips. Do not forget, do not forget, do not forget. The next is the flash fiction piece called Abzu. The spark from the fountain was nearly dead. Abzu poked it with its index finger, half expecting a repelling force to repel him backwards, but instead the sizzling beam popped, spun, and flickered on the tip of his nail. A drip of blood confirmed its owner. Kaleidoscope figures and shadows rotated on opposite panels in spinning cubic shapes, summoning bright shadows on the wooden floor. The chandelier separated into tiny, hundreds of thousands of cherry blossom petals, drifting under the moon. A familiar layer of dust settled in his lungs. Golden sand blew from one end of the room to the other, dipping in waves underneath the broken glass ceiling and around the mossy fountain, the constellations glinting above. He pushed past the cycling chute of wind that blew into and searched his clothes. There was a yearning, somewhere deep inside this tomb of tombs, something that even the scuttling metal spiders couldn't repulse him from. He cast one last look at the stairs. He didn't know how long it would be before he could ascend and see his companions again. Jacques, the fretful and enthusiastic explorer, Lucy, his right-hand compass navigator, and the nature sprite that had followed him past the parched dunes to the entrance of this catacomb. The glowing stones tinkled if the glowing stones tingled his bare feet as he twisted lightly between the dried kelp and the drifting, discarded plushies, puzzles, corpses of his memories. The current pulled his hand deeper, and as he stepped past a collapsing section of the ceiling, he realized that he had chanced upon a former hallway. The lockers were crumbled and rusting, hues of their metal sheen gathered into the woven basket of the abyss. Here his yearning extended. As he reached out his arm, the spark buzzed on his finger again, lighting the room in blue and white. It knew he was searching. The pages of an empty tome ruffled as he swept past, and the hallways thinned. He gazed into the mold-encrusted windows, into what had always existed. These stones had memorized his plodding, his hung silences, his paper lips. He thought he had abandoned these robotic figments as they had abandoned him. Still the stones were not surprised. They expected him, as if his return was as natural as acidic rain, as though he had slipped into the spirit that had returned him to this place. I didn't miss you, he whispered. He hoped they had lost what little power they kept, that they could not see through his veneer of calm, but he knew that they drew their power from the night. Then why are you back? Their voices rustled, some light, some heavier, with a sliver of jaggedness buried deep within their centuries of living. I've come to seek something for the Holy One. They told me that I can only find it here, that you have hidden it. He clenched his fist, his fingers brushing against the scar that scorched his living reality. I won't want to run away this time. Do not be afraid, the voices whispered. The wall thinned into a translucent film, and beyond it he could see in the fog the beginnings of another hallway, crisp and pristine, glittering with ruby and sapphire stones. We will watch over you, they continued. We will not abandon you. He bowed his head briefly before sinking into the membrane. As he closed his eyes, the spark leapt from his finger, sizzling into the light. To be continued. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. That was wonderful. And one of the things I really love about Ephemera is, our focus obviously is speculative fiction, but I love when we get to have poetry and music and dancing. Because, we're really about speculative arts. And that was awesome. So another round of applause. I also wrote down some phrases that I really like, because this is what I do. I sit here in the background. Cool. This party seems to be going pretty well, but I think we might be missing something.
What are we missing?
I think we're missing something like, can I say it?
What?
Let's play charades. That's what we're missing.
What do you think we're missing, audience?
I think that we're missing some dancing. This is my signature move. I call it the inflatable tube man. If you're at home, get up off your chair. Dance break, stretch break. Get up out of your seat.
It's a birthday dance party.
Come on, we've all been sitting for hours.
That's true.
Wherever you
It's
are,
good for you to get up.
join the party. Do a little bit of a stretch. I actually do need to stretch, so this is really great. I was so enthusiastic, I lost my headphones.
Oh, hope you all enjoyed our public domain dance music.
Royalty free from incompetech.com. Check out Kevin MacLeod. He's very excellent for all of your podcasting and royalty-free music needs.
That was so great. I really think we should tell them.
Yes, I agree that we should tell them all about our last leader, Fonda Lee. Fonda Lee is the World Fantasy Award-winning author of the Greenbone Saga, beginning with Jade City, continuing with Jade War, and the forthcoming Jade Legacy. She is also the author of the acclaimed young adult science fiction novels Zero Boxer, Exo, and Crossfire. Fonda is a 3-time winner of the Aurora Award and a multiple finalist for the Nebula and Locus Awards. She is a recovering corporate strategist, a black belt martial artist, and action movie aficionado. Born in Calgary and a former resident of Toronto, Fonda now lives in Portland, Oregon. You can find her online at www.fondalee.com and on Twitter at FondaJLee. Welcome, Fonda.
Thanks. It's great to be here. I wish I could be there in person with all of you. But one of the nice things is that we're able to do this and I can virtually visit Toronto, which is hopefully I'll be able to do it again soon in real life. So I have always a little bit of a struggle when I choose what to read because I've been spending the last several years working on the Greenbone Saga. And for those of you who don't know, it is a monster of a epic fantasy trilogy. This is Jade War, which is the second book. And it is hard to choose a passage to read from it that is not full of spoiler for those of you who aren't familiar with the books or haven't read them yet. But I'm going to read a little passage out of Jade War. And the reason I'm reading this particular passage is because when I thought about community, one of the things that I have tried to do in this trilogy is look at the idea of diaspora. So the first book, Jade City, takes place on this island called Kakon, and it is the only place with magical jade. And those who wear magical jade have these especially enhanced abilities, and they are really the elite of their society. And the second book takes one of those characters and puts him in another country called Ephemera. So the thing that you need to know is that there's a character who has come from Kakon, where there's this magic, and he is now living in another country that is very different, and where he's an immigrant. And it's one thing that I haven't seen in fantasy fiction a lot, this idea of diaspora communities. So this is actually a flashback passage from him meeting and talking to a person who is also from Kakon and immigrated to Ephemera. And the other thing that you need to know is that this jade, although it gives you powers, is also very dangerous and can kill you with this horrible disease called the itches that drives you insane, and it's very bad. When I arrived in Port Massey with my mother and sisters, I was 14 years old. One of my sisters, the youngest, died of pneumonia only 2 years later. My older sister, she ran away with a man that my mother didn't approve of, and we stopped hearing from her. So after that, it was only my mother and me. We lived in an apartment over a public laundry house. What I remember most about that place was the smell of the soap that everyone used back then, Purely's rock soap, and the damp. The windows were always steamed up, and the paint on the walls was bubbled and peeling. In winter, you could feel the damp even more. It was terrible. Almost all of us who lived in the neighborhood had fled the old country because our homes had been destroyed or our relatives imprisoned or executed by the Shotarians. Our parents had been proud greenbones or lanternmen in the One Mountain Society, but in Espenia we had no status. We were refugees with nothing. Everyone looked down on us. Even the Tuni immigrants who lived on the other side of Beecher Street thought we were lower than them. But we were proud of who we were and where we had come from, and we kept the old ways. When I was in my 20s, I worked as a delivery man for an appliance store owner named Ito, who I think used to be a good man, but had suffered too much and gone a little crazy. Ito was a greenbone whose family, like many others, had brought their jade with them to Espenia, but did not dare to wear it openly on the street. We were outnumbered by foreigners of all sorts, and we saw theft everywhere around us. Children stole from shop carts, hoodlums stole from homes and businesses, the crews stole from everybody, all with little consequence. We had come to a land of thieves. So anyone who'd had jade did well to keep it hidden. Although I was born and trained in a greenbone family, my father and my uncles had been taken by the Shotarians and their jade taken with them. So my family was poor, even by the standards of our neighborhood. Like I said, Ito was a good man, but had gone a little crazy. One day he got into an argument with a Shotarian customer. As a child in Kaikon, Ito had watched his own sister raped by Shotarian soldiers and his older brother beaten until he could no longer walk or talk. So Ito hated Shotarians even more than the rest of us did, almost with a kind of madness. That evening, offensive words were exchanged, and then things got out of hand, and the Shotarian man ended up dead on the floor of Ito's shop. I was the only one who saw it happen. Ito turned to me with a wild look, and in that instant, I saw that he was thinking that I was the only witness, and he would have to kill me too, to make sure no one found out what he'd done. Quickly, I reassured Ito that it had not been his fault, that it had been an accident brought about by the other man's provocation. Thinking to save my own life, I offered to help Ito get rid of the body. It was a horrible thing that we did. We cut that Shotarian's body into pieces, and we paddled a rowboat up the Camrys, sinking them into different sections of the river, weighed down with cement. I had nightmares about it for many years. Sometimes I still do. Even after I'd helped Ito with this grisly task, I feared for my life. What had happened unhinged the man even more. Whenever he looked at me, I knew he was trying to perceive my sense of guilt and wondering if I would talk. He was still thinking about killing me. Looking back, I think the stress had gotten to him, and he was beginning to suffer from the early stages of the itches. In Kaikon, someone in the clan might have noticed. A caring friend or relative might have made him seek medical help. But he was alone in Port Massey, and I was the only one who knew. The police came poking around, asking questions about the Shotarian man's disappearance. Of course, no one told them anything because the police are not trustworthy and half of them take money from the crews, but rumors began spreading within the neighborhood that Ito had something to do with it. Ito became convinced that I had started those rumors, but now he hesitated to kill me and confirmed the existing suspicions about his guilt. People grew worried. A greenbone who loses control and goes mad is a danger to everyone, especially in Espenia, where people do not understand jade and where it would only bring more negative attention from outsiders. There was another greenbone in the neighborhood, a young man named Roan Toro, who was known for being a good fighter that even the crews respected and would hire for some of their jobs. Roan had gotten into trouble with the law before, so the police suspected he was responsible for the murder of the Shotarian man. They came to arrest him, but Roan fled and went into hiding. For weeks, he remained in a basement and didn't emerge. Roan and I were acquainted and lived in the same building, so I brought him food while he kept out of sight. People began to grumble about Ito. They could forgive him for killing a Shotarian man and covering up the deed, but it was wrong for him to remain silent and let another greenbone be accused and likely executed in his place. Ito, though, thought only of his own skin. He had a weak character and would never have lasted as a greenbone in Keikon. Ito found out where Roan was concealed and was about to go to the police with the information. Once Roan was arrested and punished in his place, Ito figured he would be in the clear. All that would be left to do was to get rid of me as well. When I realized what Ito was planning, I went to Roan Toro and we decided to act. Together, we ambushed Ito on his way to the police station. There were two of us, and Roan was younger and stronger in jade ability than Ito. We killed Ito, and we took his jade. I had no special skills or standing in the community, except that even then, I was known as someone who was honest, and I was good at listening and at speaking reasonably and convincing people to my way of thinking. With Ito dead, I went around to all the neighbors and told them what had to be done to prevent any further trouble. When the police came around, searching for Roan, over a dozen people came forward to say that Ito had been the murderer and had fled the city. Sure enough, the police found the Shotarian man's wallet and traces of his clothes and blood in Ito's shop. That was how stupid the man was. But they never found the man himself. The important thing was that they didn't come after Roan or anyone else. The true murderer was punished, the neighborhood was spared further police scrutiny, and a greenbone who could not be trusted was removed from being a danger to us all. The community saw this as my doing, and they began coming to me to deal with other problems, some small and some big, and over time, they began to call me the Pillar. But in my heart, I knew that even though the outcome was all for the best, the gods knew what I had done. I'd been Ito's accomplice in covering up the murder of an innocent man. Even if he was a Shotarian, he didn't deserve to die, and he didn't deserve to have his body desecrated. His family had no remains to bury, and he would have gone to the afterlife in pieces. And even though Ito was surely planning to kill me, he was a man who was in pain, who had shown me kindness and given me my first job and livelihood to support my mother and my young wife. I murdered him in cold blood and disposed of his body as well. The gods knew. I think they understood why I did it, and so they weren't too harsh. So I've been fortunate in my life in most ways, except one. Sana and I could not have children for many years. When finally we succeeded, we had only daughters. We went to the temple to beg the gods for the favor of a son who would carry the family's jade, but it was only after 10 years of trying that we finally had Koru. He's a good son, but he is frivolous. I did my best to raise him as a true greenbone, but he has a childish heart. He wants only to get along with everyone and play around. He's my only son, the one who will carry the family's jade when Sana and I are gone. I love him, but he is also my punishment for the sins I committed as a young man.
Thank you. What a way to close out the night. That was incredible, Fonda.
Thank you so much.
I love okay, first of all, I love a few things. I just love the assurance, right, in the voice. Like, I was just swept away from the moment we started, and I love your world building. Like I always have. So it's lovely to hear live. Cool.
Okay, I cannot hold the surprise anymore.
I am way ahead of you. Totally agree. What is a birthday party without a birthday cake? So, we wish that we were here. I'm going to light something on fire on camera. This could go very well or very poorly. We wish that we at Kari look skeptical, but it's going to be fine. We wish that we were at Glad Day to celebrate with you all. But even though we're apart, I think if I can get these candles lit, which is not a certainty, I think that we can still make an ephemera birthday wish all together. We're not going to sing, though, because Zoom is not made for lots of people singing at once. Here's a little birthday cake. So all of you do have your wish ready in your own hearts. Take a second, get it ready in your heart. Okay, wish as hard as you can. And 1, 2, 3. Yay! Happy birthday, everyone. We did it. We made it a year.
So lovely. A whole year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That wasn't the surprise, though.
Oh, yeah. You should tell them what the surprise really was.
That was a great surprise too. But friends, it's been an amazing year. We've had some great programming, and as you know, we couldn't have done it without considerable financial support. We try to pay all of our readers and performers and everyone involved, and we're so pleased to share some news. We've received funding from the Toronto Arts Council that will take us through another calendar year. So,
right to our second birthday. Because this is the thing, we don't just try to pay artists and performers, like we do. That's our operating cost, is fair compensation for our artists. So this is amazing. We get to bring another year of Ephemera.
Tonight's been all about community because you, the community, are the cornerstone of the series. So thank you so much for supporting us through the first year, through unprecedented challenge and unparalleled joy. And thanks for forming some more memories with us. I'm going to read out some of the memories from earlier. Grell, G-R-E-I-L-L, really liked the virtual art exhibit. Nathan Caro Frechette liked, there was someone the other day, last time or the time before, who did spoken word performance to music. They were so funny and heartfelt. I wish I could remember their name. That was Charlie Petch. They were wonderful. Andre says, this is the first time I've managed to make it to an Ephemera reading, and I'm so glad I did, and we're so happy that you did too.
And a few more. Mark Altasaur says, Robot KT. Also one of my favorite memories. I remoted in from the States in March as a robot. Little did we know that I was a harbinger of things to come as I appeared on screen.
Yeah.
Leslie Donaldson says, Resistance episode 100%. That was an excellent series. And my very dear friend, Kitlin Varnum says, I miss post-ephemera hangs. And I do too. But we will get back there one day. We'll be back on Church Street, hanging out afterwards. So a year ago, we told you that ephemera are those things which weren't meant to survive, but did. We've survived, but it's you that's made us thrive. And we are thrilled to be able to bring you another year of diverse speculative fiction.
So until next time, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram @Ephemera Series, and please subscribe to this YouTube page. We like to thank the Ontario Arts Council for their funding assistance and Gangway Theatre Company for help with our performances. And if you love our events, you won't want to miss AugerCon, which is upcoming on November 28th. Our friends at Auger Magazine, Vivian's going like this because Vivian is with Auger Magazine. Our friends at Auger Magazine have planned a day-long virtual convention focused on the best of speculative fiction, kind of a focus on Canada. Vivian's there. I think Fonda also will be there on panels. And there's still time to register for the convention. So augercon.com, that's AUGURCON.com for more details.
We are also teaming up with CanCon for the very first Can Ephemera event on December 2nd. We'll be on their YouTube channel discussing comfort in advance of our next event, which will be comfort. I'll be moderating, joined by Kelly Robson, Amal El-Motar, Marco Shiro, and Christina Vasilevsky. As we close out tonight, we'd also like to thank our fabulous readers and performer, composer Alex White, our friends, families, loved ones, and you. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you on December 16th, right here on YouTube.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, everyone.